Hey everybody, it's Dr. May. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here to present another video from the DBT Expanded Edition by Pederson. And this one's about creating a good routine in your life. And it's another acronym, routine. And I really like this skill a lot. And it's a little different from what's been covered in the original DBT manual. So I hope you'll like it as well. So let me pull this up for us here. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm calling this one Create a Routine for Calmness and Stability. Okay, so routine is very important for those types of things. So let's just do a little intro. So let's talk about routines and lack of routines. So maybe you might be a person who grew up in a family where it was kind of chaotic and there wasn't a lot of routine. So you may not have even had the experience of having a really fixed routine in your life and may not even know how to start. So this skill could help you with that. Other times, some of you might have had a pretty good routine in the past, but your life changed. And now it's kind of like it threw that routine out the window. You're kind of turned topsy-turvy and your new life circumstances, and you might need to work a little harder to create a new routine with your new circumstances. So, for example, let's say you were in the hospital and you had a routine that was structured for you, and now you got discharged and you're in the community and there's not as much going on, or there's not as much with people telling you what to do and when to do it. So you might have to initiate your own routine. Other times, people have been working for many years and then they retire and all of a sudden they don't have that work in their daily schedule. And all of a sudden there's all this free time on your hands and you're not really sure what to do with all this free time. So you might need to recreate a brand new routine. Other times, maybe you're home recovering from surgery or some kind of a medical issue. And so your routine got thrown off because of that. Other times, maybe you had a baby and now you have to have a brand new routine around the baby, and I have to work a little differently to create some time for you as well as the have-tos in your life that involve caring for your child. Maybe you moved to a new place, maybe you went away to college. So things could come up in our life that might make us have to deliberately take some steps to recreate a different routine. Other times, when we're under stress, or maybe we have more psychiatric symptoms or more things going on, it could throw our existing routine upside down. And all of a sudden, we're finding ourselves kind of sleeping too much or not taking care of things or letting a lot of responsibilities go. And now our life isn't as structured as it was before. And that's a sign of us not doing as well. So putting routine back could help us recover. Other times, this might be more of a temporary problem. So let's say you're in college and now you're on break between semesters, or you're going to school and you're off for the summer, or even you go on vacation for a week in a new place and you don't have the usual stuff going on. You're out of your routine and you're feeling a little bit off. So you might have to temporarily come up with something just to feel like you could get through the time better. Okay, so these are all circumstances that are common for a time when we might need to create a routine using this skill. So let's look at the acronym just as a summary. So it stands for responsibilities, ongoing structure, use of skills, traditions, interests, novelty, and envisioning a satisfying life. So I'm going to go over all these in detail. So it's important to use these to create a routine that keeps us busy, but not too busy, not overwhelmed, and to have like just the right mix of structure and downtime, and to balance our want tos and our have tos, which we'll go into a little bit more detail for. Okay, so we'll start with R, so responsibilities. So clearly, to one degree or another, we all have some responsibilities. There's things that are important for us to take care of in our daily lives. So it's important to not get overwhelmed by responsibilities and to break them down into smaller and manageable tasks that we could take care of a little at a time on a daily basis. And sometimes it helps, and I do this myself, to make a to-do list to kind of get a clearer sense of exactly what I need to do. And you get a little sense of empowerment crossing things off your to-do list when you accomplish them. And sometimes, having a schedule or a daily planner or a calendar or even something on your phone like an electronic kind of a planner can help to remember when your responsibilities are there and to keep track of, when you're taking care of them. So here are some examples of responsibilities that we might be faced with. So one is financial responsibilities. So making sure our bills are paid on time, because if they're not and they're accumulating and we're getting extra letters and extra phone calls reminding us to pay, and we're getting, more interest charged on our credit card, it builds up more stress in our life. So taking care of these in a timely manner could be something that helps us in our routine. Other times we have responsibilities related to our job or a volunteer position or our schooling. So taking care of those in a timely manner can help instead of letting things build up to the last minute and getting overwhelmed by that. Household chores. So taking care of those a little at a time, so you're not faced with a super messy house and all of a sudden you have to do a huge job just to clean things up. Also could help with interpersonal stresses as well, because other people in your house, if you're living with people, might get a little annoyed with you if you're not doing your share. Of course, caring for physical and mental health is part of your responsibility, because if you're not well, it's hard to do any of these other things. So it's important to keep track of when you have your appointments. So keeping your doctor's appointments, arriving on time, making sure you carve out time for health-related activities, such as taking your medication, keeping up with your hygiene, which sometimes goes out the window when we're stressed out, exercising, practicing mindfulness, journaling, whatever works for you. And being responsible to yourself for self-care is a responsibility, very important. And interpersonal responsibilities. So especially if you're a parent or you're caring for another relative, keeping promises to these people. If you said you were going to do something to help out, to actually do it, make sure it's fitting in your schedule and you're not overriding that if they really need you, but also not overwhelming yourself with too much caretaking if it's not really feasible in the long run. So also keeping up with nurturing relationships. So if you have problems, making time to work them through, talk to the person. So all those things are part of your interpersonal responsibilities. Okay, so O of routine is for ongoing structure. So it doesn't have to be way too much, and we'll talk about that in the next slide, but sometimes just having a general structure to your day feels good, because life is really unpredictable on the one hand. Different things happen, things can be chaotic. There's a lot of surprises in life, some good, some not so good. So it feels comforting to have a structure where you know what's happening next. So for example, in the morning, you might have a certain routine, a certain order in which you do things. So let's say on a work day, I wake up at a certain time, then I brush my teeth and wash my face, I get dressed, I make my coffee, I have my breakfast, and then I leave. So I have a certain structure to how I do things in the morning, and it's the same order every day. So I kind of know what's happening next. It's not wasting my time. It makes me feel like I know what's happening next, and it helps keep me going every day. You might also have a certain evening routine, maybe eat dinner at a certain time, watch the news, read a book, check your email, whatever, a certain time every day. And that makes you feel like my day's more predictable. Okay. So whatever works for you, little things like that can be part of your ongoing structure. Okay. And it makes you feel, okay, a little bit more settled. All right. And some of the things you put into your ongoing structure are based on your responsibilities and things that you enjoy doing, which we'll talk about later, but also should be related to your values, priorities, and goals. So the things that are important to you should make it into your structure, should make sure you make time for the stuff that you really want to do, and maybe delegate some other things that are less important or put off certain less important things. All right. So a little bit more about this. It's a dialectic, because we're in DBT, dialectical behavior therapy. So the structure, you don't want to have too little. So if we don't have enough structure, we feel kind of ill at ease. We're kind of subjected to the ever-changing nature of life, and it might make us feel bored or restless or anxious or depressed, and it might make us more likely to engage in addictive or target behaviors because we're feeling really uncomfortable and we're desperately trying to relieve it. So having a good amount of structure could benefit from that. Like some people say, a big trigger for picking up alcohol is boredom. So you want some structure to relieve the boredom, okay? So if you don't have enough structure, try putting extra things in your schedule just to make your day feel more full. So maybe it's time to look for a job or a volunteer position if you don't have one. Maybe it's time to join an activity at a certain time of the day. So let's say your week is pretty full, but your weekends are very empty. So maybe there's something in the weekend that you can do to make your weekend day feel more structured, and that would help. Other times, maybe create like a daily destination. So every day, maybe you take a walk at a certain time, and that's just something you do. Or you go to the grocery store and you buy something, or you go to Starbucks and you buy a cup of coffee, and it's part of your daily structure. It's something to go to, it's something to do. So that's how you balance out the too little. On the other hand, too much structure could be oppressive. So sometimes we're in very busy times of our life and it's too much going on. Our days are overly scheduled. We barely have time for ourselves. So if that's the case, it's time to step back and think, all right, is there any way I could lighten my load? Are there certain things that are less important that I could put off or delegate to somebody? Or can I carve out some time for relaxation, like true relaxation, not just, scrolling through social media kind of a thing, but something that's truly nurturing for me. So that might be a way to balance out too much structure. Okay, so U is use of skills. So DBT skills can be part of this or other skillful things that you're aware of. So if you're here, chances are, and you're into DBT, you're interested in learning more coping skills in your life. So how do I make coping skills part of my life? I actually have to make some time to try them. So where I work, we have a bunch of people that say, oh, I've been in DBT before. I already know these skills. I've been in these groups already, but yet they're still engaging in a lot of target behaviors and in the hospital right now. So it's not just the knowing of the skills, it's the actual applying of the skills. So if you want to get better at that and truly make your life better so that you're coping better, you actually have to try using the skills and figure out ways to incorporate them into your life so that they benefit you. So carving this into your routine could be a great way to do that. So you might spend some time every day, maybe even reading a skills manual that you have, going over some skills worksheets, watching skills videos such as DBT videos on my channel, or doing skills homework. So answering the questions and actually going through and reflecting on your day and how you applied skills or how you could apply skills. You could even use your routine or your schedule as an excuse to use the cope ahead skill. So in DBT, cope ahead means I'm thinking about what's coming next, anticipating a challenge, and planning in advance how I might cope with it so that I'm not overwhelmed and surprised once I get there. So that's another way to build that in. So every day say, okay, what's coming up tomorrow? What skills might I need to get through this challenging situation? Okay, let me write this down. Let me kind of visualize it in my mind so I could maybe put it into action when I get there. All right, so use of skills, very important. Next one, T for traditions. So these might not occur every day, but they might occur periodically throughout your routine. So a tradition is something that gives meaning to our life. It's like something we do that's the same, that kind of helps us feel connected to others, makes us feel more sense of belonging to maybe a group, to a religion, to a culture, to a family, to friends, and it's helpful. And some cultures have a lot of traditions. They're very heavily laden with traditions. And other times in our life, maybe we don't have many traditions, or maybe traditions in our life in the past were associated with troubling family times or dynamics. And I don't want to do those same traditions, but maybe I want to create brand new ones now that I'm choosing to do in my way with my friends now. And that's something that's empowering to me. So you can look back and think, all right, are there traditions that I want to continue? Or are there new ones I want to create? Are there ones associated with holidays I'd like to do? Maybe every year you want to, I'm a New Yorker, go to the Rockefeller Center to see the Christmas tree and go ice skating. Maybe you want to go to the Thanksgiving parade in Manhattan. Maybe there's a tree lighting in your neighborhood. Maybe there's an Easter egg hunt. Maybe there's a menorah lighting. Maybe there's a Chinese New Year parade. Maybe there's something associated with a holiday that you'd enjoy doing. Or every year we go to this certain bar for, St. Patrick's Day, and we have corned beef and cabbage and a beer. Okay, not that I'm promoting drinking, but it could be part of your tradition. Okay, so other times maybe it's just more of a non-holiday tradition. So let's say once a month, me and my friends, we get together and we do a potluck dinner. That might be a tradition that you and your friends start. Or let's say you're with your family and you say, okay, every Friday night is going to be game night. We're going to get out all our board games and we're going to have potato chips and popcorn and soda, and we're going to play games together every Friday night. That's just what we do. Or me and my husband, we're going to have a date night every Saturday night, and that's our tradition. See, so there's all different ways to do it, but it's something that you might look forward to, and it could be fun and, make your life a little bit more enjoyable and break up the usual. So related to that, interests included. So don't forget to include the want tos into your routine. So before we talked about the responsibilities or the have tos, these are things I want to do that I'm making sure I carve out time for. So I found in my personal experience that even when I'm busy, when I really want to do something, I find time to do it. When it's really important, I make sure I get it done. So if you really prioritize, you'll probably find some way to include an interest of yours, even a little bit each week, So think about something that maybe you've done in the past that you haven't done in a while and you would like to do again. Or maybe there's something you're currently doing now, but maybe not as much as you'd like to do it. So you'd like to have more time for it. And maybe there's even something you were always hoping to try that you would like to try now. So on any of those kinds of things could be part of your interests that you're including in your schedule. Okay. Now, novelty. So again, we don't want to be so overscheduled and life being so predictable that it's getting boring. We want to make sure we have some downtime for spontaneity and for whatever happens to come up. Time to try new things, time to just, what the heck, I'm going to go out today and, do something fun. So making sure that you have enough time that's up for grabs is important. So don't just do the same all the time. You have to balance out the same with the new. Another dialectic, all right? And just to let you know, so if you're interested in following up more with this idea of novelty, the Radically Open DBT Lesson 5 videos are all about that, all about trying new things and having fun and practicing new stuff. So also with the interest included, this is kind of all goes together, especially on the sensory motor psychotherapy videos I list here. Those are about like, how do I introduce more play and fun into my life? And even with this challenging your window of tolerance, it's challenging it by trying new and fun things. So experiencing new things that might feel a little risky because it's different. So I'm challenging my window of tolerance or my comfortable arousal zone in a positive way by trying new stuff. So these are great follow-up videos if you're interested. Oops, okay. So last one, envision a satisfying life. So when you create a good balanced routine for yourself, and you're putting it into action, you're going to start to see some positive changes. And it might give you the sense of empowerment that I have the power to make my life the way I like it to be. I can make choices about what's in my routine and how things are going. I could feel more calm and stable because of this new routine. And I could see my future possibly getting better than maybe I was able to envision before. So this is one of the benefits of routine. And, remember, you could also make adjustments. So if it's hard to imagine your current routine helping with this, you could also adjust your routine using your wise mind and in line with your values, priorities, and goals so that your life can become more satisfying by creating the routine that's right for you. Okay, so more resources. I see this skill, although it wasn't categorized this way in the expanded DBT edition, I see it as very related to reducing vulnerability to negative emotions. So the ABC Please skill is about doing things that make it less likely that you'll be overwhelmed by stress when it comes your way. So when you create a good routine, you'll be in a better position to handle the stressors because you're more grounded, you're more calm and stable because of your routine. So I see it as tied into ABC Please. So if you want to get more of that concept, you could also check out my ABC and Please videos, because I broke it into two because it's a lot of material. All right. So we made it to the end. So I hope this was helpful for you and gives you some ideas about making your routine better. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll be back soon with another expanded edition video. All right, have a good day, everybody.